What's poppin', y'all? This is Deidre with One Shot Game. Man, you already know how the motto go. You get one shot at life, but a lifetime to learn all the game you need to help improve your life. The choice is yours on which route you choose to take. Now, as I always say, you get two choices: the ability to faithfully settle in the life that has been set out for you, or the ability to pave a path towards your destiny. That choice is also up to you. So before I get into the title of my video, I want to say a big shout out to all my supporters. You guys are great. And even the ones behind the scenes, I see y'all too. So look, the title of this video is going to be on the fact that your first initiation process into developing into the person you were meant to be currently in this world right now is the fact that you first and foremost have to go through your parents. And what I mean by that is on a spiritual level, not on a physical level, because a lot of us fail to realize that our whole identity was constructed based off of who those people felt they were spiritually. You know what I'm saying? There are things about themselves that I'm pretty sure a lot of their children don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because they kept them a secret. Simply because they were too embarrassed, or because they felt as if because they were their children, they didn't need to know. You know what I'm saying? So in reality, if you had a connection or a bond with them, on the surface, it may look like you was living life on your own terms, but behind the scenes, they were spiritually orchestrating your every move. You know what I'm saying? And you don't realize that until you're put into a certain position in your life where you get an extreme wake-up call to believing that the person you were trained to be wasn't who you really were. You know what I'm saying? You were so much greater. And a lot of times, consciously and unconsciously, they know what they doing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them oftentimes see your light as soon as you're born. You know what I'm saying? And so their whole mission as you being the sacrifice is to be able to put their wounds onto you without healing them as you're in the midst of constructing your own identity. You know what I'm saying? So it may seem as if it may be harder for some people, which I get it, because there are some people that just, they don't want to pull away from some certain people. And I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying? Listen, let me tell you something. There are adults in your life that are older than you, whether it's your parents, your relatives, that in their mind, you know what I'm saying, they think that you separated yourself from them. But what they're failing to realize is the fact that when you're a person that sees life for what it is for real, you do not have no animosity against your parents. You know what I'm saying? Because they were raising you the best way that they knew how. You know what I'm saying? What happens is once they start to realize that their need of you cannot be tricked, they cannot finesse, they can't say whatever, the energy between both of y'all is automatically separated. You know what I'm saying? But because a lot of people are not in touch with who they are spiritually, they will think just because your interaction with them is not how it was in the past, that you just decided to not talk to them. That listen, understand it's all constructed in their head, because a lot of people are going into this mental type of capacity where they don't have the ability to free their spirit from the cage it's been in, because they're too in an involvement in a relationship with the past. And because of that, and because they choose to stay over there, they will not be able to see anything that you own. You know what I'm saying? All they're going to do is talk about it in a negative way, because they think that you really just switched up and changed, without even understanding that once you get into this energy where you have the ability to form your own identity, that is the ability to set yourself free and allow yourself to move through life in your own true spirit, the one you had the day you was born, that was not constructed by your parents. You know what I'm saying? It's almost as if it's hard for them to fathom. And what happens is they will never tell you what they tell everybody else. So what they're telling everybody else is, a dark false image of who you are. They're spreading rumors, they're spreading lies, they're saying negative things about you simply because they don't understand how you're not allowing them to be the personal scapegoat. Like you're not allowing them to have the need of you without nothing in return, because their mind is so encaged in the past that they feel entitled. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you've raised your elevation as far as energy. Promise you, when you become who you are for real, life gets easier. But when you're solely trapped in the traumas that have dictated your life based off of the pain that the people who birthed you went through, that's what your life is created around. They know that. Oftentimes, I promise you, they know that. But because when people go through an embarrassing moment, or because they're experiencing something in their life that they don't want to tell nobody about, it's easier to hide it. You know what I'm saying? And then when you give birth to kids, you don't realize that you passing that down. So what will happen is they'll experience the same experience of something you went through. And either you kept it a secret or you didn't tell them, that they don't even realize what's going on. And you leave it up to them to try to figure out how to break out of it without telling them, hey, I went through that too. Unfortunately, I failed. I didn't make it. I didn't have the spiritual capacity to get through it. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times it's this mentality where we funking with our relatives and funking with our friends. But on a spiritual level, if you're someone that's truly tapped in with who you are, you don't got no beef with nobody, because life is already hard. But because they can't see the spiritual paths, because someone either connected to them is blocking them from seeing it that way. You feel me? Because they're either attached or, like I said, they're stuck in the past. It's easier to stay who everybody wants them to be instead of being their true self. So what happens is the connection will be destroyed automatically. You know what I'm saying? But in their mind, they may see you feel me, moving through life without them, and people are asking, like, you know, what's up, because they may miss your energy or whatever, and they're spreading lies, they're spreading gossip, because in their mind they still don't want to admit the fact that, you feel me, spiritually they breaking the confines of what I set out for them. You know what I'm saying? And I've experienced it on both ends of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? I didn't stop talking to nobody. But what happens is once I started to realize who I was, those people fell off because they couldn't use me anymore. So they stopped interacting. They stopped calling. You know what I'm saying? And it's actually, if you use it in a positive way, a growth type of thing. Because again, I love being myself, but I didn't know what that was at one point in time. You know what I'm saying? Because I was too busy trying to fill the shoes for other people. But once I figured out who I truly was, it's nothing more better at peace and easy to get through life than me knowing me. And it's so much more than the physical. It is a spiritual world that we sometimes could be locked out of, because the people around you and the people that birth you have so many secrets about who they really are that they never told you. You know what I'm saying? Or again, like I said, it could be one or the other painting a dark narrative about one, and it leads you to believe that one of them is like that, when in reality it takes, you know what I'm saying, you getting to know yourself to actually paint the picture. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I didn't grow up with one or the other talking about each other. What happened was I was so addicted to wanting to find that love inside of them that I started to see through the lies. And once I started to see that, I started speaking up. And they weren't used to that. You know what I'm saying? And so what happens is it creates this imaginary wall now, where until you speak up and tell the truth and be the truth and who you are, that's the only way you'll be able to break through that. Otherwise, you're going to have to stay over there. And listen, some of them are just satisfied. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I thought that I would be able to play the role with you the whole entire time. I even set everybody else up to play the role with you as well. And because you see through it, I'm not okay with that. I'm not ready to handle that yet. So I'm going to stay over here. And listen, as the days go on and as, you know, life goes on, anything could happen. But they're so concrete in not willing to expose who they truly are for real and why your life may be taking the turn that it's taken, that they'd rather you just suffer instead of understanding that maybe they may have the key to unlock a door where you're stuck at. And because they're not ready to admit who they are, all they can do to make themselves feel good is paint a negative narrative about who you are. You know what I'm saying? Not realizing on a soul level, the world that's been hidden from us for so long is really what dictates your life. It's really what sets the tone for who you are, the actions you do, the way you move, how you act in life, what you're attracted to. All that is set up and directed oftentimes by the people before you and the wounds they didn't heal. But as you're going through life, it'll be little parts of it that may be you for real, but you got to think it's a battle when you really trying to find your own true identity. You know what I'm saying? Because living in their shadow for so long, finding your own true self, it's work. You know what I'm saying? It's work, and it's doing the opposite of what they've done, which stopped them. And you don't know, because again, like I said, a lot of people, the truth is embarrassing. The truth is hard to admit, even if it's at the hands of trying to set somebody free that you love. Personally, for me, I just could never do that. I could never, you know what I'm saying, sit around and watch my child suffer because I refuse to tell her about certain things, age appropriate, you know what I'm saying, that could set her free from the path she's going down. If that was something that you had set, maybe, you feel me, you listen, I don't know. Because again, I'm not the director of nobody else's life. I'm only the director of my own. But again, I'm very open with my child, age appropriate, because I don't want her to get there and then don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? And you don't understand how conflicting that can be. Like you're having tantrums, you're crying, you're spazzing out because the part of you that's really you for real is not understanding where you're blocked at. And because of that, and you don't have nobody to explain it to you, it causes a confusion in your soul. You know what I'm saying? And it causes you to lash out. It causes you to act out because you're not understanding the background behind why you're acting the way you acting. And it could be a deep, dark secret somewhere in your parents' history that you don't know nothing about. And it could even go back to far as their parents, that it was just so extreme, it was better to keep it a secret instead of tell. And that could be the very thing that's stopping you from growing in your life, to setting yourself free so you can be who you are, not the person they want you to be. Because that person they want you to be, if you don't set yourself free, when you have kids, you're going to pass that down to them too. That's not allowing them to be themselves. You're passing down your pain and hurt to them. You know what I'm saying? And again, something that I know to be true is the fact that you don't even got to speak to them, because you are at a point in your life, well, for me, I don't need an apology. You know what I'm saying? I don't need for y'all to admit things that you may still be trying to heal from, or you may never heal from. You may take that shit to the grave. But what happens is I'm going to stay on my own path. I'm going to let y'all paint the narrative. I'm going to let y'all say what y'all want to say. You feel me? I'm going to let y'all feel like it's okay to turn everybody else against me because I'm taking a path that is otherwise unknown to you. Niggas ain't crazy. Niggas ain't delusional. You feel me? But it was just your mission to keep them people in a box so that they never revealed the truth. Because when you start to speak the truth, you go back decades in setting certain blocks free. You feel me? And on the soul level. Meaning, it gets to a point where speaking your truth allows people from the past, and even momentarily having to either speak their truth or face the things that they don't want to speak the truth about. And if they don't want to face them, it's going to come with consequences. I'm living proof of understanding how bad it is not to tell the truth. If I don't tell the truth, man, it's almost as if, you feel me, it just don't work out. So I don't have no choice. I'm basically forced, you feel me, to tell the truth. Whether it hurts anybody or not, that's the whole part of being free in your soul. You're going to have to understand it come with that. You know what I'm saying? But you'll be able to live a life where you don't even realize you setting yourself free, you setting your kids free, you feel me, in a world where it's going to get to a point where having your own mind is how you're going to be able to survive. You know what I'm saying? Because without it, you're going to condemn yourself to everything that they tell you should be, and it's not going to feel right. You're going to feel empty. You're going to feel invalid. You're going to feel like something is wrong with you. And it probably is, because you're not being yourself. You got to think, when you're at peace, you don't get mad. You don't get upset. You don't be depressed. You feel me? Nothing really gets to you. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of things will replay in your memory, but your reactions to them are different. You know what I'm saying? So if you are experiencing a person that's having a mental breakdown or aggression, it's because they're blocking their soul from seeing who they really are, because they refuse to remove a block or really stay tapped into who they are to remove the block. And listen, if you experience it from a person once, you'll probably see it again. You know what I'm saying? And depends on what scenario or what situation that person is in. You don't know how the outcome could play out of that person acting like that. So sometimes it's best just to stay far away until, you feel me, they come to an understanding of who they really are. You know what I'm saying? And just from my own experience, I was depressed a lot, but that depression wasn't mine. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't understand, why am I going through depression, but I feel I can't understand it. You know what I'm saying? So a part of it was mine, because I was putting myself in situations related to that depression. And then the other part of it was, the depression you experiencing is not really related to your identity. It's related to the identity that your parents and the people in your family created for you, and the wounds that they weren't able to pass. That's the sacrifice they made when you was born. You know what I'm saying? Because oftentimes it's very known, if you had the ability to have a gift, or, you know what I'm saying, something that could change the trajectory of you know what I'm saying, the relationships amongst the family, they not ready to stand in their truth yet. They're still embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? It's death or dishonor, and that's damn near death if you think you're going to get away with exposing that about us. So we're going to sacrifice you. And what we're going to do is make sure that you never, ever, ever know who you really are for real. That's the mission. That's the goal. You feel me? Not realizing that by doing that, you slowly killing the bloodline. Slowly killing the bloodline off. And I don't know about other people, but I want mine to matter. I want mine to mean something. When I leave this earth, my life matter. You feel me? Like, nigga, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter about how much money you got, how much life you live. If you feel me, generation don't stand for something, if you don't teach your kids morals and principles, what the fuck are you living for? Like, for real. You feel me? Because it's so much more when you do that. You cause eternal peace when you're able to do that, which means, so what? Maybe you didn't get to live out how you wanted to live your life in your lifetime. At least you know, by freeing yourself, your kids will be able to do that. That changes the once dark trajectory into a light one. We all fall down, but it's how you pick yourself up. You know what I'm saying? So listen, that's not to blame them. Because again, when people are living in a dark, delusional mindset, they may take that as an attack. They may take that as you making them feel bad about something. No, what's really going on is you already felt bad about something. You just thought that you could be able to keep it in the dark. And when it's discovered what really went on, or what really happened, or the truth being exposed, that's something you're just not ready to handle yet. You know what I'm saying? Because you're still going through your deep innermost wounds. And listen, have compassion. Doesn't mean you got to be around them. Doesn't mean you even got to talk to them. But usually them withholding certain information from you is because of something that happened in their life, probably way before you was born. And it led up into that same pattern over and over and over. And you, even though you may be their kid or their relative, they didn't see that. All they seen is another person. I'm not going to tell you that, because I don't know what you can do with that. And we just going to hide that in the closet. And listen, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other people like myself who grew up in a family that was a secret society. It was almost as if their identity and who they was a secret. You couldn't know nothing about them. You know what I'm saying? You got to think of how you're almost in self-discovery mode your whole entire life. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not going to lie. My grandmother was very honest, but I know deep down inside there were some things that she didn't tell. You know what I'm saying? She kept until the day she died, and she probably, you feel me, never thought they would be discovered. But the only way that you can get down to being able to receive that information, you know what I'm saying, is to stand in your power and be who you are no matter what. You know what I'm saying? The spirits, the ancestors, the people before you that died at the hands of, you know what I'm saying, secrets and death and all that, I promise you, you will receive information you don't know where it's coming from, but it's because they're talking and they're sacrifice their life to be able to make sure that at some point someone would be able to expose the darkness. You know what I'm saying? They may not have liked it alive, but when you gone, it ain't too much you can do. But what it does do is make them cross over. You know what I'm saying? So that they can live in a life of peace instead of completely reincarnating in that same spirit into the family bloodline. That's how deep it get. You know what I'm saying? So listen, I don't hold back nothing about what I'm doing, who I am. You feel me? I'm going to keep standing tall, because usually what people fail to understand is that you're never your own identity. Your name is just a name on a piece of paper that your parents give you. You feel me? With hopes that you don't really live up to that. I've just had another child, and you're gonna have my life. You know what I'm saying? And anytime you think different, you know what I'm saying, you have an idea, a creative project, I'm not going to let you see it through, because when I had one, nobody wanted me to see it through. So I'm not going to make sure you see it through, because then that would mean you may be something in life and they failed at trying to be something in their own life. That's really not your fault. You got to get over that. You know what I'm saying? But it can hurt in the beginning. It can make you feel some type of way. It can be to the point where you have questions about things. You call, they lie to you, they cover it up. I promise you, if you are gaining clarity and confidence on who you are, those answers will be revealed to you. You just have to free your mind. Stop trying to keep your mind busy all the time. Stop trying to keep your mind clouded all the time. Therefore, you're not able to receive anything, because you're too busy trying to cloud your mind, because you don't like to be in that space where it's free. That's the best thing you could do for yourself, because it will set your spirit free and you'll be able to live out who you were truly meant to be. You know what I'm saying? And it's the best thing you could ever ask for. Having a clear mind and not thinking about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Listen, you will receive things you don't know where you got them from, but you just know. And it makes sense, because if you start looking at the pattern of how people be acting, whatever you know now will start to play out. You don't got to ask them nothing, because you're going to see it. You know what I'm saying? We're spiritual beings having a human experience. All I can say for everybody out there is stop clouding your mind. Stop trying to take yourself away from that space where you by yourself, because that's where you will receive the things that'll help you get at peace. But if you too busy trying to cloud your mind with the next thing, fill your mind up with this, stay busy with this, you will never be able to clear your mind enough for those messages to come through. You know what I'm saying? Because you're always too busy. You gotta have a certain type of energetic vibration for you to receive information. You know what I'm saying? And that's just speaking from someone who, listen, I smoked weed for a very long time. I'm pretty sure y'all know that. I drank a lot. You feel me? I was always depressed. I was blocking myself from being able to receive those messages. But the people that were around me and the people that birthed me, they knew exactly what they were doing, because oftentimes they're also blocked too. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes subconsciously they don't know that. But then consciously, sometimes they're very well aware of what they do. You know what I'm saying? They're just, like I said, people be doing things and making choices that they see fit for themselves at the time. And I don't know if they just don't want nobody to judge them, or they don't want nobody to say nothing wrong, so they just act like they don't exist, or they keep it hidden in the black of their mental closet for so long. But I'm telling you right now is the time. That mental closet from that ancestor or that parent is going to get cleared out the moment you stand in your truth. The moment you know what I'm saying, understand that your first initiation process goes through your parents. You know what I'm saying? The things that they hid in the closet that's stopping you from your growth will be revealed. But first, you got to separate yourself from the things that are mentally trying to clog you, so that you don't get those messages. Because the people around you may not want you to have those messages, because spiritually, then you're going to gain traction on them, which is sad. I don't know why we think like that. It's enough for everybody. You just got to put your name on it. But you ain't going to stop me from being me because you hate who you are. That shit don't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? But again, knowing and understanding that now is the time that it's peaceful. You know what I'm saying? You can't put a price on that. You can't pay for that. You know what I'm saying? And you don't got to chase shit. You know what I'm saying? To get it. You just go with the flow. You know what I'm saying? And life will happen for you, not to you. The moment you free up your mind, you know what I'm saying? And understand that it's peaceful there. You know what I'm saying? You knowing who you are is so goddamn peaceful. But like I said, you're going to have to go through the initiation process of going through the wounds that stopped your parents, their parents before them, their parents before them. So don't get upset or irritated when you may be experiencing things in your life currently right now that's not really you, but it's a part of you. The day your parents gave birth to you, because your soul is attached to theirs. You know what I'm saying? And they, listen, almost all of them, ain't nobody exempt right now the way I'm feeling. All of them, if they still alive, got secrets. And if they passed away, they died with those secrets. You know what I'm saying? And those very things could be the reason why you may feel stuck and stagnant in the world right now. You know what I'm saying? So again, listen, I am black, right? And I've seen the world I grew up in. I've been through it all. I've been in the trenches. I done been with the money. I done seen it all. I done seen all of it. The grind, the hustle. You feel me? The depression, the sadness, the aggression, the violence. You feel me? I seen it all. The jail, the prisons, all of it. And all of it. To where, I promise, if you get on that page with yourself, imagine you'll set yourself free. You know what I'm saying? From being attached to things that they'll come into your life to where you're not attached to them. But it's peaceful. It's peaceful as fuck. That I think that's something you can't put a price on, that everybody deserves, but everybody don't got it. And some of these people in the world right now is walking through a mental asylum with no medication. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know how to get to the level of peace. Because they think it's by copying and mimicking someone else, without realizing that the peace you're searching for is inside yourself. You know what I'm saying? But you're too embarrassed and afraid to go deep in that closet. You're doing like the rest of them did. You're hiding it so deep, you feel me, that you refuse to look at it. You feel me? Listen, people don't just become drug addicts for no reason. It usually be pain that comes before that they're blocked at, that they don't know how to make it through. And this is just coming from someone, whole daddy side. All of them addicted to drugs. Some of them died by it. You know what I'm saying? Being blocked from certain things that they could have made it through, but they didn't know how. And don't forget, mama's side got some drug use too. But a lot of us were able to clear that block. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean there aren't other chains after that. You feel me? That, again, secrets, lies. You know what I'm saying? That are told to you because it don't matter if you my child. I'm telling you a lie and you gonna believe it. You know what I'm saying? Listen, set yourself free, man. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't gonna do it, at least work on doing it. At least try. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't, the harder life is gonna get. Because that old way of thinking, that old way of feeling, that old way of being was not nothing it wasn't us. It was created for us. It was how we were supposed to think and operate. You know what I'm saying? Because people were too afraid of us really being ourselves and exposing why we had to be created instead of allowed to freely be ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's so we know who you are the day you was born. And we know that if we set you too far off and we let you live your own life by yourself, you're going to become too free and you're going to expose the darkness that we've been living behind for years. You know what I'm saying? And we don't want that. But it's too late for that now. You feel me? It's too late. And it's a battle. It's almost like dying and then waking back up. You feel me? To a new version of yourself. It's fucking hell. You feel me? But again, the more you set yourself free, the clearer the vision comes with people who wake up. Because all those dark things they said about you, all those, you feel me, things they said to other people to try to make themselves look good, it'll get to a point where they'll start to be the delusional ones. and you'll start to be in your own peace of mind. Doesn't mean they'll reach out. Doesn't mean people will talk to you, because they know that sometimes they're gonna have to live with the fact that they believe somebody else and not you. You know what I'm saying? And some people just don't be wanting to sit with that. They'd rather die than come to you and apologize. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. But again, whatever you doing, if you're realizing who you truly are, it's gonna get greater later. It's gonna be peaceful the more you do it. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be able to forgive yourself for the things that may not have been you, but was passed down to you subconsciously, unaware. You know what I'm saying? And promise, if you keep working at it, you'll wake other people up to where they'll start to look at you differently, see you in a different light. But it takes time, and usually we live in a world microwave fast. Everybody want everything fast. Not this. You can't get this fast. This shit like a warm Sunday dinner on a Sunday night. You gotta let that shit sit and roast. You know what I'm saying? And go through it. And if you don't know how to cook, you might burn it the first time, but you're going to let it sit roast again until you get it just right, until it's nice and juicy. That's exactly how setting yourself spiritually is. You feel me? But it'll be the best thing you've ever done in your whole entire life. So listen, if you don't know what it is, I just told you. Please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe.